to take this forward, because you stay in Australia or the institute is there, so this whole weekly format and all that is possible. Like you and I had talked earlier also, and India is in very exciting times.
Yes.
So I've been like I told you when we met last year, that it just something about psychodrama just went
Yeah.
right in, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
and it's
You just resonated with it.
yes.
And you can't say you didn't have that experience, can you?
No.
You know you did.
Yes, I did.
I know.
And it's the excitement just grows every day, and
Yeah,
and
yeah.
being the kind of person that I am, I would want my country to experience
Yeah.
as much of as what we can bring in here. So if we were to look at trying and starting a chapter of the Moreno Society here, or if we needed to develop a board here, or if we needed to figure out how certifications can happen for India,
Yes.
it may not happen every week, because the that won't work in terms of the practicalities and all of that.
No.
Then on a yearly basis, these 4 days, something like that. How can that be worked out for here?
Well, I'll tell you how one of the groups in Japan did it. Up in Hokkaido, which is the northernmost island, there's a city. The capital city is Sapporo, and Jun Maeda lives there.
Okay.
Now, in 1986, there was a person who started doing some psychodrama groups,
Okay.
just because he was interested. He'd done some psychodrama, so he said, "Let's practice this thing." So Jun was one of the people who did that. I don't know how big the group was. It was reasonably big, and that group is still running today. And it's called the Sapporo Psychodrama Group. Now, how it works is they invite who they want to come and be their teacher.
Okay.
And so I've been going, as I said, since 1986 regularly to that group, and they have other trainers that they've invited. And but they do follow our Morenian now. Since 1986, they've been following more that route, because in different countries they have different trainings,
Yes. Yes.
levels of training. America's very different.
Yes.
Yeah. And Britain's different, and then the Federation of European Psychodrama Training Organisations is different again. But you've got to find something in India
Yes.
that works for you,
Yes. Yes.
you know. And so it could be that you just create a group. We're a group.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
could say, we could even say, I would have to talk to my members of my executive on the Moreno Psychodrama Society. I'd have to talk to them about, would it be all right to be a chapter?
Yes.
I've already prefaced it to them already a little bit, that there's an interest, and we can talk more about that. But if you've got a chapter, the chapter can have its own identity. You don't have to copy or report
Yes.
to
Yes.
the other one.
Yeah.
That won't work.
We could take a reference from there,
You can
but
take a reference.
it gets a
Yeah.
chance to evolve the way it needs to evolve
Yeah.
for sure.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. That's the best way.
Yes.
Nobody's got the time to micromanage
Yes.
another country's development, and nor should they.
Yeah. Yeah. Nor should they.
No, no. It's got to be, what's your need? What do you like? Well, okay, let's 4 or 5 of you do it together.
Yes. Yes. So, from because as I'll show you today, Manas has space. So for anyone to come and practice there, it's a place that we keep open for all whoever wants to come and do any work and learning and all that. So even from this 3-day workshop, if there are people who are interested and who would want to become a part of this group,
Yeah.
so then that basics can start, and then it can
Yeah.
evolve and continue, and
Yeah.
then
Oh, absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. And we could also collaborate with people in Bangalore who are interested in
Yes,
that, in
yes.
this, because in the group that I was there in Bangalore, there were some people who were so keenly interested in following it up further and things like
Absolutely.
that. So that could it slowly becomes a body.
And we have something, we have once a month, we have a reading group
Okay.
for 1 hour. And somebody
Mm,
reads
awesome.
a paragraph out of
Okay.
some Marinian text or some other
Mm,
psychodramatist's writing,
yeah.
and that gets discussed.
Mm,
And you'd really be surprised. We don't do any action mostly,
mm-hmm.
we just talk. But that hour is so intense, so full of excitement,
Mm,
ideas, and different people's perspective on that
yes,
text.
yes, yes,
It's
yes.
amazing. So you
Beautiful.
can have something like that, and even if you were
Yeah.
Skyping with some people in Bangalore,
Yes.
and you don't even have to see one another, but you could hear
Yeah.
one another, and as long as one person talks and then another person talks, you can't talk over the top.
Yes.
No.
Mm, interesting. Very
So that
interesting.
could be good.
Yes.
And then you're focused on one text. Okay, we're just going to talk about role reversal today.
Yeah.
So that's something to consider.
Yes, yes, very much so. And it's so much in sync that what we've done in Manas is that over 10 years now,
Mm.
uh, like you said, it's a very contextual thing. So we've been able to develop a 2 year program for helping a person become a psychotherapist.
Yes.
And out of the different elements of what they need
Ah,
to complete, one of the elements is reading.
yeah.
Because what we realized as facilitators was that when you read and you discuss your own ideas about what you've read,
Mm.
there is a certain concept depth that develops in you.
Yes.
And then it, knowingly or unknowingly,
Mm.
um, weaves into your way of operating it in your
Yes.
work.
Yes.
So we have a weekly regime for students. So as a part of their program, they have to complete so many hours of reading.
Mm.
So it just so much aligns with
Yes.
how even the psychodrama work is concerned, that there is a curriculum of books that they are supposed to
Yes.
finish as a part of their program.
Yes. Well, we have a whole range of, I've got articles going back to the 30s in my library. So I've got thousands,
Wow.
literally thousands of articles. A lot of them now we've put onto a Dropbox,
Mm,
so people can read them. But
yes.
that takes a long time to get the thousands on. But
Yes.
we've got
Yes.
hundreds on
Yes.
already.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's
Mm, mm,
something we do. And when we have our reading group, that trainee decides what they're interested in, what they
yes.
read. We're not saying you read this
Yes.
reference list. I mean,
Yes.
there's a reference list there, and there are
Mm,
certain recommended readings.
mm,
But see, sometimes people are really busy working. Um, the reason why we don't impress upon them that they must read chapter 5 by the end
mm,
of the year
yeah.
is because, as I said to you before, we're working with the individual person.
Yes.
So I really do that.
Mm, mm,
And it might be that someone doesn't want to read anything. All they want to do is be a part of the experiential training group
yeah, and not read at all.
and not read at all. Now, if that's the
Mm,
case, like I think I spent a couple of years not reading anything. And
mm,
then I started to read and I started to get so engrossed, I got my own library within 12 months.
yes.
Now, see, if somebody maybe had told me I must read this chapter and I must
Yeah.
read that chapter,
Mm,
and psychodrama writing, some people find it quite difficult because you can't read the book from the beginning to the end.
yes.
It's Moreno didn't write like that. He wrote in pieces and with ideas and
Mm,
concepts.
mm,
So if you read one um, paragraph or one short piece in his book, that might only go over 2 pages, but
yeah.
it is so full. Oh,
There's a lot of order there.
yeah, and you start to imagine in psychodrama. The
Mm,
imagination's important. So is your visuals? How are your
yeah.
visuals going?
Yeah.
What are you seeing when he says, you know, that there's no birth trauma? The baby is actually warmed up, coming into life.
Yes. They're ready for it.
It's and so's the mother's body, and
Yes.
there's no trauma. And it's
Mm,
when you burst into the world, you burst into the world. Whereas the psychoanalysts all
yeah.
say coming out of the birth canal
Is a trauma.
is a trauma.
It's almost like, yeah. It's like, see, when a bud is ready, to unfold into a flower, then by night you can see that it's, thickening and becoming a little more looser, and in the morning it's all opened up. That's how it is.
No trauma.
No trauma. Yeah.
And so it's a very different method.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very organic with life, I find.
Yeah. Yeah. and and the way even you're talking about how we could start it in India, or
Mm.
every student takes their own journey, I also find it so person centric in its
Yeah,
approach,
that's it.
that everyone
Yeah.
takes different parts of the journey in their own ways, in
That's
their
it.
own time,
Yeah.
and they choose for themselves when
Yeah.
it is the right time for them.
Yes.
Yeah. And that resonates back into me, because I feel that for a lot of things related to psychotherapy, it is time for them in India now.
Yeah.
Something just tells me that it is time for all these things.
Yes. Yes. I think so too.
Yeah, it's,
Yes.
moving there.
Yeah. I feel that when
Mm,
I'm here.
yeah.
Like I've been coming since 2012,
Mm-hmm.
and I really feel that
Yes.
there's a huge
Yes.
excitement and impetus, I'd say,
Yes.
momentum
Yeah.
going that you're not going to stop.
And I think as a society, we're moving towards a place where people are now wanting to know themselves,
Yeah.
find themselves,
Yeah.
be their own person.
Yeah.
From a society as India was, that was, where everyone's personality or the sense of person came only from their roles, that I'm a wife, I'm a
Mm.
this, I'm a that,
Mm.
and there wasn't space for the individual self.
No.
Now, as a whole society,
Yes.
it's moved to a place where people are asking, so what am I all about?
Yes.
And so
Yes.
there's a lot of psychological differentiation or individuation which is happening
Yes.
at a large scale.
Yes. That's right. Immense, isn't it?
Yes, it is. So I'm just looking forward to so many trips of yours in the years to come.
Yes. Oh, thank you. I love India.
Yes.
Yes. The colour, the smells,
Yeah. Yeah.
the life, the
Yes.
lifefulness here.
Yes.
Because, more than anywhere else, probably I could say in the world, there's living in the moment. You have to live
Hmm.
in the moment here.
Yes.
Like I worked that out when I tried to cross the road. If I'm not living in the here and
Moment
now,
of
I'm
hit
dead.
and gone. Yes.
Nobody's going to stop.
Yeah.